We know that they've been here longer than anybody else in Europe.
Well, these people are proud of their past, and they're easy in the present, and they're not afraid of the future.
Well, that's a beautiful phrase and a wonderful formula, Leila, and I agree with two-thirds of it, if you forgive me. I think that they certainly aren't afraid of the future, and I envy them for that, because I think most of us are. And easy in the present is something very few civilized people are. And forgive me, I don't think the Basques are totally civilized in the pure sense of that word, because civilization does imply city culture by definition, and these people don't have a city culture. And I don't see how you can say, and here's where I begin my argument, how you can say that they're proud of their past, because although they have the longest one in Europe, it's only a past in the sense that they've been here, not in the sense that they've done a lot. And you can only be proud of your past if, well, I don't know, if you've built a pyramid or have a library full of books to show for your past. Dignity can mean, of course, a lot of things. It can imply a certain pomposity or rigidity of behavior, at least. Certainly there's nothing about the dignity of the Basque that's rigid. But formal, perhaps.
They're formal till they know you awfully well. I really think their dignity comes from self-possession.
A true self-possession.
A true self-possession.
Yes.
Every Basque owns himself. They give a piece to the world, very polite, very nice. They give a piece to the town.
And a piece to their family.
A lot to the family.
Family is a very important part.
Family's a tremendous thing.
Yes.
In the Basque country.
It's the big unit, isn't it? More important even than the town and...
Yes.
But of course, we're very near the Spanish border, and everybody knows that in Spain, the ladies, at least up until very recent moments in history, and even now to a good extent, are kept locked up at home a good deal.
Not the Basque. Try and lock up a Basque lady. They were grand. During the war, during the occupation, during all periods of trouble, the women were superb. Yeah. Mademoiselle Maggie.
Oh, I know her. She runs that little restaurant.
That lovely little old maid up
by the border. That's a little restaurant just by the Spanish border, and she's a marvelous old gal. And it's a pretty good restaurant, too.
It's a good restaurant. During the war, the Germans knew it was a good restaurant, too, and they came to eat. In the meantime...
In their great numbers.
In their great... Lots of them.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Mademoiselle Maggie was hiding aviators and refugees...
In great numbers.
In great numbers.
In the cellar.
Take them across, let them get across
and entertaining the Germans up above. I remember I saw the guest book of this restaurant. It was filled with the names of German...
Herr Hauptmann,
and all that and so on.
That.
They'd all been scratched out by the old lady on the day of liberation, wasn't it? With great fierce strokes of the pencil.
Took a pencil and...
Well, she was very brave about that, and the ladies are brave, but I'd like to speak a word now, if I may, in behalf of the bravery of the Basque men. Here's a friend of mine called Gabriel Lamarck. Notice the steel teeth. His real ones were knocked out by the Germans. Here's his son, Jean-Pierre. Nice boy. When Jean-Pierre was this age, that's his photo, the Germans made him prisoner. Kept him for days, torturing him, telling him his father was dead. They tried everything. What they wanted, of course, was names and facts. Little Jean-Pierre knew the facts and the names, but he didn't give up so much as an initial. Basques don't talk. Oh, by the way, Monsieur Lamarck would like his boy to spend a year in some English or American home. Maybe a boy of the same age could come and stay with the Lamarcks. Nice people. Well, I think it's wonderful, Leo, for a Basque father, particularly for a Basque father, because these are very conservative people, Basques, to want his child to have the experience of living in another country with other sorts of people. Well, here we are back where we started, up on the border. You know, it's not only the Basques. Nobody really likes an international border. The nations it divides always want to push the border back a bit in their favor, and I rather think the people it divides would just as soon do away with it altogether. Well, Pentecost is one day of the year when that actually happens. And here it is, happening. Yes, the fences and frontiers are really down. And people are free for this one day to move without passports, carrying what they want in any direction that pleases them. like a big party. I can't think of a better reason for celebrating. Well, every good celebration, of course, ends with fireworks. And here in the Basque country, of course, they have a special kind of fireworks. Everything's special here. This great thing you see is called a Toro del Fuego, a bull of fire. It's shaped like a bull with all kinds of fireworks sticking out of it, and men are inside, and they're running through the streets with it, with the fireworks shooting out in every direction into the people's faces. But for some reason, miraculously enough, I don't know why, nobody ever seems to get hurt. Well, it's time to close, and I think I'd like to end this time with a Basque ending, the way they end every story, every Basque story. I warn you, it's a little tough. It's not a bit sentimental. It's very much on the realistic side, and therefore very Basque indeed. At the end of a story, a Basque story, they don't say, "and they lived happily ever after." Now, here in the Basque country, they say, "and if they lived well, they died well." Orson Welles behind the camera. A camera focused for this program on a fairly out-of-the-way and little-known corner of Europe, the land of the Basques. We've placed this camera directly on an international border. Over on that side is the ancient kingdom of Navarre, and there, where the low Pyrenees start ambling down to the sea, is France. It's still pretty heavily guarded up here, and for quite a time after the war in Spain, this border was closed, tight, a sort of miniature iron curtain. At least that was the theory. But in war or peace, old times are new to the people who actually live up here. This border has always been more of a theory than a fact. A theory of the French and Spanish governments, whose vigilant customs officers patrol it. No, the people who live here are neither French nor Spanish. They're Basques. And the rise and fall of other republics, other kingdoms, has never made them forget it, that they're Basques. And that Basques are what Basques are. Well, what is a Basque? All we know for sure is what a Basque is not. Besides not being French or Spanish, a Basque is not Mediterranean, Alpine, Magyar, Celtic, Germanic, Semitic, nor Scandinavian. He isn't even Aryan. Nobody knows who his ancestors were. According to him, Adam and Eve were pure Basque. And it's true that his position's something like the Red Indians in America. He's an aboriginal. He was in Europe before the other Europeans came along. To this day, he speaks his own weird language, a tongue no expert has ever been able to trace. Over there, in General Franco's half of the Basque country, this language is quite literally against the law. It's treason to speak it in Spain, so of course, since Basques will be Basques, their language is spoken just a little bit more on the Spanish side.